5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
Blast off. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, everybody.
It is January 10th for us.
And everybody, a good morning.
January 11th for you guys. What?
January 9th for us and January 10th for them.
Tomorrow's my birthday. I know what
Oh
day
my
it is.
God. Happy birthday, babe. I'm so sorry.
She's questioning me on the one day I do know of the year. Guys, all I want is a present from Cholo Trucker.
Why would you say that?
It's a joke. Did you know Cholo Trucker does not believe in birthdays?
Why?
It's funny because and it's funny because when I talk to him, I agree with him, right?
Why?
But because he had told some of the other guys that, and they took it like he doesn't acknowledge birthdays at all, and he just simply says, "No, man, it's just I don't believe in throwing a big old party and this and that, and once you're 18, like for your kids." And it just became a little inside joke.
Got it.
Yeah. So actually, I don't want a present from him. I'm just joking. He knows the joke.
Okay.
He knows the joke.
All right.
So,
All right. I got it.
guys, we are blessed. We are here.
Blessed by the best.
God is good.
He sure is. All the time.
God's always good. Dun, dun.
And on time.
He is here. Dun, dun, dun.
In this place.
Dun, dun.
What else? Come on, keep it going.
He's alive. Dun, dun, dun.
On this day.
Dun, dun, dun. What? I don't know. I ran.
Oh my God.
What?
You ran out of things to say about the one and only.
He's exalted. Dun, dun, dun.
On high.
Dun, dun, dun. He is mighty.
And glorious.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so I have no idea what that was about. No idea. Maybe 50 years old means delirious. I don't know.
Speak for yourself.
All I know is I'm
I ain't 50
enjoying
yet.
my 40s. I'm in my last few minutes. And I'm just enjoying it for all I can. What? I got 16 more minutes.
16 more minutes of being.
So I'm literally going to turn 50 as I'm talking to you guys.
That is so true.
So they said, well, once you're 50, you got to be all serious. So I'm just going to be silly for the next 15 minutes.
All right.
No, I'm not going to be silly, but yeah, today
It was really nice today.
youngest daughter came to visit, hang out. My mom and my dad came to visit and hang out. Abraham's day off, he hung out.
Your little David's day off too.
Bobo's day off, but he took
He
off.
didn't hang out.
He went to the gym, went to play pool, and he invited me to play pool next week.
Yeah. That's going to be nice for you guys to hang out.
It was the funniest thing, right? Because he walks in all excited because he had his own pool stick. And I looked at him, he was like, what's so funny? Because out of all my kids, he's the one that had, how do you say it? Like the most characteristics of mine? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like the closest to my personality, I guess, or right? Certain like modos, is that like ways? Mm-hmm. So he walks in all happy with the pool stick, right? He goes, I'm serious about this. He bunches it, practically comes to the door like a Kool-Aid man. And says, I'm serious about this. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
He picks up the pool stick.
I got a pool stick, right? And I started laughing. He goes, what are you laughing about? I said, you have no idea how similar you are to your dad.
Yeah.
And he goes, why? I said, did you know that I used to play pool with my friends all the time? Like that was the hangout. There was a pool hall in Manteca downtown where all the lights are at for Christmas. Little pool hall. We would play so often that I ended up buying my own pool stick, and I had my own little case for the pool stick. So when he walks in,
because you didn't drink and you had to come to an agreement with them.
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? I was the one with a car. A lot of them, maybe they had cars, but I had the nicer one. I was in my music career, you know.
Yeah.
I was in a peak of my music career, doing my music. You know, the homeboys, they wanted to be around me. I wanted to be around them, but I didn't drink. So it was boring for me to go to a bar, and I didn't do clubs because I didn't like to be around people like that. So we came to an agreement, is a pool hall, because they would drink, because they would sell beer there. But they would sell soda, they would sell nachos, they would sell hot dogs. So that's what we would do, play pool all the time. And one day I told my friend, I'm like, man, we come here so often, why do we keep using these cheap pool sticks that they have? They're all warped. We should buy some, you know? So me and my best friend went and bought pool sticks. So I used to carry.
Me and my best friend.
We used to buy a pool stick, you know? And that was just a fun thing that we did, you know? Like, it was literally, I actually told my son on weekends, but really, because I didn't work, I had a music. It was every night. We were at the pool hall pretty much every single night.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. So
yeah, he's all like, well, you should come with me.
Yeah, so he was, go with me on my next day off. I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah, I told him you should. That'll be a nice thing for them to do together.
Yeah, playing pool's fun. I ain't that great, but it's just a fun game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So remember he showed up with a pool table at his house over there? Remember he would like buy things and sell things and then buy things and sell things, and then he ended up getting a pool table from OfferUp?
Oh, that's right, huh?
Remember that? He was
do.
just what is he, like 16?
Yeah.
Not even. He was like 15.
At his mom's house, he bought a used pool table.
Not a little one, a full-blown pool table.
I know, but it was used.
A used one.
Yeah. Yeah.
This kid, man, he would put like one shoe on OfferUp.
He sold it, too.
And sold it.
That was the weirdest thing, that somebody bought one shoe.
He was a straight hustler when it came to that. He would put the weirdest stuff as a teenager, and people would buy it. And then next thing you know, he was, I bought a pool table. I'm like, what? He was, and the guy came and dropped it off and everything.
Yeah, he would sell. He would always look for things to sell. Mm-hmm. It was so funny. Yeah.
Anyways, guys, I told you I was going to be silly. I'm going out. My 40s. Once I turn 50, I'm just serious like Yoda.
Once he turns 50, I'm married to an old man.
That's messed up. I don't like it.
Why?
I don't like it.
Why, honey?
I don't know. Just don't. So, we did have a question I wanted to talk about, because this is an interesting question, actually.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and so somebody had asked, because as you know, you can ask your question here now. If you have a question, a biblical question, or anything about Christianity, you can email your question at relevantbibletalk@gmail.com.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that yesterday.
I know. relevantbibletalk@gmail.com. Send in your question. A biblical question, a Christian question.
Can't you do like something where you can just do a pop-up where it just says at the end, where you could just automatically put it every time when you render it? That it just becomes, you know how you put our email every time or something?
Yeah, I could do
just
it.
Put something that's informational at the end of, our devotional, and it just becomes automatic, like send in your questions to da-da-da-da-da. And it just becomes an automatic every single time. In case we forget, you have it there every single time. And you know how you could do a pop-up that says subscribe, and a pop-up that says, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the like, subscribe, and email your questions.
Yeah.
Those three things should be automatic every single time.
Yeah.
You don't do that already, huh?
No, because I don't know how to make them. I got to pay somebody on Fiverr to do it. That's how I get those intros. But I mean, it's like $20 to do it.
Well, let's do it. I think we need to do it, get it done.
So this is an interesting question, and here it is. I don't know it verbatim, but basically he said this, is if God created everything, why doesn't the Bible talk about cavemen?
I'm gonna pull it up.
Oh, so I shouldn't even try to
No,
describe
why didn't you ask me? Like, hello?
Hello.
Like, ask me.
Hello.
Is this it?
Yeah. Click on the question.
Okay.
Alrighty. Here's the question.
By whom?
Jose D. Thank you, brother, for asking this question, because it's actually a good question. I actually have heard this asked a lot. But I've never covered this on Relevant Bible Talk. And it says this: my question is, God created all things, but in the Bible there is nothing mentioned about dinosaurs or cavemen. Okay, so let's hit them. There's two really questions there. First one is dinosaurs. The Bible does not mention anything to dinosaurs, but here's the thing that you got to understand is the Bible is not meant to give every detail about this earth. The Bible is meant to point to the Messiah from beginning to end. It's almost like this, right? Is that, think about it. Adam and Eve, and then it goes into more generations, and then it goes into Noah, and then it goes into Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and then it goes to the 12 tribes, and it goes to Judah. And, so basically, it would be like as if somebody said, I'm going to follow your life and your town. Imagine you live in a town of 100,000 people, right? And they choose to follow you with a camera. And then they choose to follow your children with the camera. And then your children, your grandkids, and so on. So it's the story of you. It's not the story of this city of 100,000 people. There's all kinds of stories going on, deaths and sickness and accidents and births and weddings. But the camera is not there to capture everybody's story. It's there to capture your story. Mm-hmm. So it's basically almost like everything the Bible describes really is on the peripheral of the Bible, because the Bible's main focus was following the timeline till it got to Jesus. Mm-hmm. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So when you do that, so let's go back to, if it was your story, imagine you lived in a town called Coley, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say in Coley there was no dogs, right? And there was cats, and the cats barked, for instance.
Okay. I just pictured all of that.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So let's say 1,000 years later, somebody is reading this story that is about your life, but you didn't have a cat. So that cat is not even described. And then later on, somebody would say, maybe there wasn't no cats that barked because it's not mentioned in this book. Mm-hmm. So the author, here's the thing the author would say is, my plan was to write a story on your life. And if you didn't happen to have a cat, it wasn't going to be mentioned in the story. I'm not mentioning the animals or the trees. And if I happen to mention it, it's only because it happened to be in the middle of your story. But other than that, there's no reason to mention it. So anyways, I go on to say this, is that dinosaurs, for whatever reason, are not in the Bible. We know that there's fossils. We know that the bones are there. We know that. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an archaeologist. I don't understand carbon. What's it called? When they do the carbon to time it. I don't know how they come up with those numbers. I don't understand that. But it's interesting that the Bible doesn't mention that. Now, there has been some theories. Mm-hmm. And again, we're not scientists. We have no idea. I'm just a pastor in Modesto, but some people have said that if you really watch, look, babe, I don't know if you ever noticed this. I'm sure you have. Look at it in the very first chapter of Genesis. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, right? In Genesis 1 and 2, very beginning. Maybe there's something you thought of or not. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It says, I'm going to read 1 and 2. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's verse 1. Verse 2 says, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters.
First this, God created the heavens and the earth. All you see, all you don't see. Earth was a soup of nothingness, a bottomless emptiness and inky blackness. God's Spirit brooded like a bird above the watery abyss.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why it describes it like that in there, but in the
Do you want me to read it in a different?
Go to Amplified.
Amplified. In the beginning, God, Elohim, created by forming from nothing the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and a void or a waste, an emptiness. The darkness was upon the face of the deep, primeval ocean that covered the unformed earth. The Spirit of God was moving, hovering, brooding over the face of the waters.
Amen. That's good. Notice it speaks as if earth was already here. It just says that it was void. It was nothingness. It was a wasteland. Notice that?
It was unformed.
Yeah, it was unformed, but there was something here.
But the earth was here.
So, could the dinosaurs have been then? It was already here. Like I said, not a scientist, not archaeologist, I'm not anything, but it's interesting that it doesn't say that there was empty space and then he said, let earth be formed. No, it says the earth was already there, but it was void. It was nothingness. It was empty. So maybe that was when the dinosaurs were here, before man. Maybe that's why scientists say, yeah, dinosaurs and man were never on this planet at the same time. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Now, another theory is this, right? And some people get mad at this because I am not denying that God can create everything in 6 days. I am not saying that. God could create everything in 1 second. That's how strongly I believe God could create. But another option is that from the first day to the second day could be 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 million years.
That was a really good observation that you just did. When did you notice that?
I don't know, years ago.
Oh, okay.
In prison. I just noticed that. I was just like, oh, that's weird. Never talked about it, to be honest with you, until right now. Okay. Never talked about it. I just kind of kept it in the cocoa. You know?
In the cocoa?
I got 1 minute to be silly, so that's it. That's it right there, in the cocoa.
In
that's
that
it.
nougat of yours? Okay.
Yeah, and then I got a few seconds, then I got to be serious. So, what if a lot of years passed? Once he created the earth and once he did all that, we don't know, you know what I mean? And here's the thing, I'm not going to argue with anybody because you know what? They weren't there, I wasn't there, and it has no bearing on salvation.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people want to argue, and I'm like, this is not even a salvation issue. This is more like interesting, thought-provoking things, you know? What are you looking at? Something jump out at you?
Yeah. But then what makes me think not, though, is that when he says the earth sprouted and abundantly produced vegetation, plants yielding and according to their kind, you know, because they say that dinosaurs, you know, there was vegetation for the dinosaurs to be sustained by.
My thought too, because honestly,
but yet then but also they said that they were carnivores and there were some that were vegetated type of dinosaurs. But how could they sustain a vegetation if there was none yet?
Okay, you just made me think of something I read. I just read it.
Okay.
Interesting thought, right? Is that there was some scientist that said
Happy birthday!
Oh,
Happy birthday, baby. Mwah.
I gotta be serious now.
No, stop. Keep thinking. Your thought. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I found this very, very intriguing, this article. I don't know, again, I'm not an expert. It doesn't bear salvation with me. But, you know, my mind gets going. Is that scientists had concluded that the Earth had been destroyed several times before. Like this planet had many times been destroyed by a meteor hitting it, something happening, because a meteor would hit and it would cause such an explosion that the ash would basically cover the atmosphere and everything would die and freeze. So this is what was interesting, because this was a group of scientists that were not Christian, but this is amazing, right? They said they believe that the earth over time had been destroyed many times, right? And they said, but for some reason, what are you doing?
Nothing.
For some, but you're not listening. It's going to throw me off.
I am. Go.
I'll just let you finish because it's going to throw me off. For some reason, they were like, we don't understand why meteors have not come near this planet now. It's almost like as if, have you ever seen how you drive in and there's falling stars? And there's things that happen and there's meteors that hit other planets and all this stuff, right? Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because it's making me think right now.
So imagine there's huge meteors.
You're making me think.
There's huge rocks in space right now hitting planets like nothing. But for some reason, they don't hit the Earth. But this is what the scientists said, that the Earth has been hit many times before. But all of a sudden, for the last few thousand years...
Because there's life on it now.
Because there's life on it now.
And because God is in control of what's on this
Earth. So even the scientists are saying it's almost as if there's a shield over this planet ever since the last few thousand years.
Ever since there's life, ever since he created life on it.
So let's play with that idea. What if the Earth had vegetation, had all these things because it was formed, but a meteor hit it, boom, and left it desolate, left it dark, left it with no light.
Until human life came.
Until Genesis came. And he says, he found the earth without form and void, and it was darkness.
Now my brain's going to be thinking about all this.
So that's but again, we're not.
That's a good question, man.
But it's interesting, right?
It is.
I found it
really
intriguing, the fact that the scientists were saying they can't understand why meteors don't come close. Because when they go back, they said it doesn't make sense. Because you know how like they know when comets, what year it's going to pass.
Yeah.
They know. So they go back and reverse all this stuff. And it's like they see an Earth that was pounded and pounded and pounded with asteroids. And all of a sudden, the last few thousand years, it stopped. So...
Because we serve a big and great and mighty God.
So I was reading this non-Christian article, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the Lord. This is the Lord, that once he created... And
they say there's no God.
Once he created the earth we know, God put a protection over it. So...
And you know what the crazy thing is that they say that it's science. It's science. No, it's God.
Yeah, so to answer your question, why dinosaurs, I hope we answered it. The Bible doesn't describe it, but you know what? It doesn't discredit it. It doesn't discredit dinosaurs, and dinosaurs don't discredit the Bible. The focus of the Bible was the Messiah, and that's it.
Okay, now let's go to cavemen.
Caveman. It depends on what your question means. Because obviously, if we didn't have buildings to live in, we would live in caves.
I think the first caveman was oh my God,
John
Adam.
the Baptist?
No, Adam when he wore leaves.
Yeah. So
I think he wore little things made out of leaves. Yeah, loincloths made out of leaves.
So if you're talking about a caveman like us, but without a house to live in, then a lot of people were cavemen then in the Bible. They lived in caves. They lived in huts. They lived wherever they could make a place to keep warm. Mm-hmm. But if you're talking about caveman like that, then no, that is evolution, and the Bible does not support evolution. We didn't come from monkeys. We didn't come from a primitive human that didn't know how to use their hands or didn't know, you know what I mean? So it depends what you mean. If it's that, then the Bible does not support evolution. Because we did not come from a blob in the ocean that turned into a fish, that turned into a frog, that turned into a lizard, that turned into a little monkey, and it turned into us. The Bible does not support it. He said, I will make man in my image.
You were not a tadpole.
He created Adam and Eve to be in the image of God. Now, if you say, why doesn't it mention cavemen? I believe it does mention cavemen because the people sometimes lived in caves. So this is proven because you can find caves that have writings inside of them, drawings. They would draw buffaloes or they would draw whatever it is was going on in their life. So yeah, in that sense, the Bible does mention cavemen. Moses was on Mount Sinai for 40 days. Yeah. What if he found a cave?
Yeah.
King David found King Saul sleeping in a cave.
In a cave.
John the Baptist wore a camel and ate honey and locusts. Where did he live? Where did he hide from the rain and the sun? I bet you he lived in a cave.
Yeah.
Elijah went to hide in a cave when the Lord said, yes. What are you doing hiding in that cave?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I have a feeling you probably meant a caveman like a non-intellectual. And that is not biblical. But man has always lived in caves. If all of a sudden a nuclear bomb hit and you happen to survive and all the houses were destroyed, guess where you'd live? In a cave, because that would be the most safest because at least you got walls and something behind you and all you have to do is protect what's in front of you from animals or whatever. So it seems like the safest thing to do, but.
Yeah. That's a good question, so.
Yeah, man, it's fun, guys, because to me, that stuff is fascinating to me. There's this movie that it's non-biblical, it's just a regular movie, but I love this movie only because it's like this. It makes my mind think. It's called, I think, 10,000 BC. Remember I bought the Blu-ray?
Yeah. I've never watched it, though.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Are you going to make me watch it?
No.
Oh.
But they based this movie, it's just fiction. It's not real or anything. I like it because it makes my mind wonder what it was like 10,000 years ago, and it's pretty cool. It's called 10,000 BC. It shows a saber-toothed tiger. It shows this kingdom civilization that was rising and people believed it to be a god. And man, I don't even want to tell you because I don't want to ruin it for you if it's something you're interested in. But that does interest me on that. I got to say this too, is that to me that goes along with why is there pyramids in Egypt and pyramids in Central America and Mexico? Mm-hmm. Why there? And it's interesting because if you look at a map and if you bring Africa close to South America and Mexico, it almost fits like a puzzle piece. And in the same area, the pyramids would be.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, why is it that if these continents were touching, the pyramids would be just in a little section? That's weird stuff to me,
You got to show me that.
Yeah, and also, they were saying that, again, I don't know how to confirm this. I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me something about this. But I remember reading or hearing about these old civilizations that were continents apart, right? But they always talked, their legends went after this person that showed up and taught them mathematics and war. They would teach them to be warriors, taught them how to make weapons. And it's weird, right? Because in all these continents, when they would draw this person or talk about this person, they all looked the same. It was almost like they're describing the same person.
You have water?
And, no.
Okay.
I'm about to wrap it up. I think it's interesting because of the Nephilim described the giants back in Genesis, where it says giants roamed the earth. Mm. And the sons of God married to the women, and all that weird stuff like that. And again, I don't understand what that stuff is, but sometimes I wonder if demonic forces is what brought these nations war and weapons. you know, because they were smarter. They were smarter than the people, so they came teaching them, and because they taught them, they were considered gods. So these people that didn't know how to do this stuff, all of a sudden this person comes and teaches them weapons and teaches them warfare and teaches them mathematics. And so obviously they would worship him as a god, because that's what these demons want. They're princes and they're principalities, and they want to be worshipped. So sometimes I wonder if demonic forces ever manifested and shown themselves to a people to be their god. You know, because these demons had more knowledge than them.
Yeah.
And they taught them knowledge. Because why? Because it goes back to Adam and Eve. It was the only way
that they were going to come in and have an effect on.
Yeah, and they would be worshipped. And it goes back. Remember in the very beginning, don't eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
So once man ate that fruit, this thing of wanting to know knowledge, wanting to be like God, was almost a drive in every human.
Yeah.
You know, and I could believe that demons would show up to these civilizations and say, hey, if you follow me, because think about it, what's the difference, right? Isn't that what they do to rock stars now?
Yeah.
Worship me and I will rise you to the top. So all of a sudden this demon appears to these people and says, hey, if you worship me, I will make you the biggest empire, and you will destroy all these other nations, and I will teach you war. I will teach you how to make weapons. I will teach you this and I will teach you that. And they become a god.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting things to think about.
That's really good. That's really good. Yeah.
Got you thinking?
Yeah, you got my mind's kind of like shoom right now.
Welcome to my world, babe. That's the stuff swirling around my head sometimes. Yeah, but
I don't know how this stuff fits in that brain of these guys.
It's interesting stuff. You know what I mean? It's really interesting stuff, and it's stuff that I wish I could know more about. I bring that up because if you watch 10,000 BC, it actually shows one of these giant gods.
You know what's crazy? Like, now just watching even Star Wars, you guys, I'm even now, I talk to him and I'm like looking at things scripturally, and I'm like, man, I get it now. Like I when we watch certain movies or something, it's like I'm able to see it now. I'm like, you know, I turn to him and I'll be like, I just saw scripture in this, or I just saw scripture in that, and he laughs at me now because I get it, you know, and I kind of get to see what goes in your brain now. It's
funny, right? Because a hardcore Star Wars fan will probably punch me in the nose if they heard me say this. But I'm a Star Wars fan. I was there in 77 when it was made. Well, I wasn't there, but I was alive. Rogue One is my favorite. And I'll tell you why. Because it reminds me of the Old Testament. It reminds me of the Old Testament because that one guy, he's like a prophet. Remember, he's blind? And he says, I am one with the Force, and the Force is one with me. Remember, he keeps repeating that? The guy that plays the karate guy that we like. Bruce Lee's trainer.
Oh, I can't think of it right now, babe.
Yeah, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Remember, he plays that he's a blind guy and he has a staff.
Yeah.
And anyways, that's why I like it, because it reminds me, I truly believe that Rogue One was made to seem like a biblical, like he's a prophet, and that city he lived in was like Jerusalem because it happened to be in the middle of a desert.
There's like so many parts,
so many references.
So many references that I see, and I'm blown away with so many things that I see. Yeah. Like the
Emperor.
A lot of things.
You know, which is to me like an antichrist. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or even Satan himself.
There's a
lot. There's a dark force.
There's a dark
because remember,
part to it, and there's, you know,
there's always the Sith Lord, and then there's always two.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of Satan and the Antichrist. He always has one. Yeah. You know what I mean? So to me, I think George Lucas used a little bit of Christianity, used a little bit of Judaism, probably used a little bit of Buddhism to make his movies. You know, that's why sometimes I'm like, that's not biblical, but I think he purposely did that. Looked at the religions of the world to make his fantasy movie. I mean, it's just a fantasy movie, but
it's crazy.
I do see when I I could tell when
But
it's
I
a lot
see
of
that
biblical.
in this. I see that in a lot of the things that we watch, and a lot of the things that you have kind of pulled me into watch, because I've never, guys. Every time when he told me, "Are you a big movie person?" and I thought that I was, but no, I wasn't, because I could say that I would sit down to watch a movie, but I'd always get distracted and I'd get up and I'd walk away from it. So I've never been able to sit down and watch a movie thoroughly and watch it all the way through until I met David, pretty much. It was hard for me to ever watch something. And I now watch things thoroughly, and I have to really pay attention to them, because the moment if I turn my head and I look at my phone, or if I turn my head and I look at something, he stops it. Like, seriously stops the movie, or says, "Are you done?"
Unless it's something we've seen already.
Yeah, but he'll stop it, and or if I just get up to go get water or something, he'll pause it, and he'll pause it till I come back, guys. He will not keep it going. But you know, I pay attention to it. I really do, and I get a lot from it. I really do.
I just realized, is that what Ashley does?
Yeah, you notice?
Because every holiday or whatever, we go to her daughter's house, for whatever reason, they decide to put a movie on. And they're talking, they're eating, they'll go sit on the couch for 15 minutes, and then she goes upstairs, comes back down 10 minutes later, talks to Tristan, helps him, sits down, watches, talks to you, and then she looks at it. If there's something loud that happens, she looks, and I'm like, these people never watch movies. Now, maybe it's because they have company, but you just, right now, your description of yourself made me see your daughter.
That's exactly what I used to do.
And you thought you saw that movie.
Yeah.
When in reality, you didn't see nothing.
I didn't see nothing. That was me. That
Guys,
was my whole...
I love movies. And when I go there, I purposely ignore the TV. Because there's noise. There's people talking. There's people eating. There's people laughing. I don't even like to sit in front of the couch. If you notice, I hardly ever do.
He goes to sit around the whole
Because
big old
people are
island.
going to talk to me. And it's either talk to me or you watch a movie. You can't do both at the same time.
That's so true, guys. so true.
So
Very true.
But guys, that's just a pet peeve. That's just crazy me.
Yeah. Very, very true. Talking about, I just talked to her today, and she says, "Mom," she goes, "you haven't answered my calls, in the last 2 days. We were your movie night, and then
On Sunday?
yeah, and then church, and then I forgot. I was like, God, I gotta call her
today?
back, and then and then we had something that we did.
Saturday we were busy.
Yeah, we did something that I told myself I'm gonna call her back, and she goes, "Mom, you haven't even answered my call."
We were back and forth in the store Saturday.
Something could be going on, and you didn't call me back, and I'm like, "I'm so sorry, honey." She goes, "I have COVID." And she goes, I've been sick. And then Tristan tested positive for COVID yesterday. And now Daniel tested positive for COVID. We're all sick. Tristan's been having a fever every day. I felt so bad. I go, "Oh my God, honey." I go, "I'm so sorry." I felt really bad.
Saturday you were buying all this stuff for the movie night.
I was baking all night
Yeah.
for this
Yeah, that's right. You weren't answering your
baking.
phone because your hands were all powdery and stuff.
Yeah, it was just, and I told her, and I didn't want to call you so late, but guys, keep my daughter and her little family in prayer. All of them have COVID as well. A lot of our families that we know, even online families, people that we know, lots of people, our assistant pastors, as you guys know, Pastor Lydia and Al, and Crystal and James, and the Ruans, and gosh, there's just a lot of people, that
Derek in New Mexico.
His family, and there's just so many people, guys, that are just we do know that this is the most contagious, the most contagious, I guess, this form of COVID, but we know that, people are not, becoming terminally ill, which we're so, grateful and thankful. But, nonetheless, there's still some that get very, very ill from this. But we're just asking that you keep those families in prayer, and just continue to pray for them. And, if we can still, give a lending hand where we can, and be, just be there for one another in need, because people still need things, and I know that we were able to take, we still had 2 bags left of the medications, and Abraham went to go leave one. And, just, if you know somebody, make sure that you give somebody a call. If you know that somebody is by themselves, check on them, give them a call. Like I had told Melodia, just, check in, she doesn't have it, but, I know that she's by herself, all the time, and I tell her, hey, just, check in with us all the time. Anybody that's by themselves, we have family members that are by themselves sometimes, and just, I always like to just hear a little text or something and just, hey, let us know how you're doing sometime, just say hello, just send a message, to say hello and stuff. It's important. COVID or no COVID, it doesn't matter. Just, we like to just hear and make sure that, those people are doing okay, that family members are doing okay. Just, send a simple hello to, our family members and stuff. So reach out, guys, say a prayer for those that do have COVID right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a few people text and asking what medicines, because as you guys know, just so many people we've known.
I have.
Well, hold on. Listen to what I'm going to say, though. Mm-hmm. We had so many people we know, plus, because we had it in April. But I said, but I got to be honest with you. A lot of the symptoms you guys are feeling were not symptoms me and Sharon had. So the list of medicine we took might not match what you need now. So I asked, I said, it depends. Before I answer your question, depends what symptoms you have.
Yeah, true.
Because in our day, when we had it back in April, that's when everybody was having lung issues and people were dying. Yeah. So taking Mucinex and lots of water was probably one of the main ones, but not so much now. Now people are talking about stomach and upset stomach and throat hurting, which none of those affected us.
Yeah.
So it's a little different than what we were taking, so it's not the same list.
Yeah. But most of the ones that I would say that most of the ones that we should be let me find them right here. Most of the ones that we should be doing are pretty much the same thing.
But I would say if you're gonna go down the list, I would say what for, because if they're not feeling that symptom, because they could be way different than what we had.
Yeah.
Then I would, if you are gonna do that, I would couple each one with what symptom.
Okay. Well, first of all, vitamins.
Yeah, that's no matter what.
Vitamins, no matter what, you should be taking vitamin C, your vitamin D, and your zinc. Always make sure that you're taking your vitamin C, your D, and your zinc at all times. I think that's definitely important to take. The one thing that you should always have on hand for sure is a Theraflu tea. A Theraflu tea.
Because of fever.
It does help. We found that the Theraflu tea helps a lot more than your Theraflu syrup.
Yeah.
The Theraflu tea, taking it at night, if you buy like the daytime and the nighttime, it helps because that way you're not sleepy during the day.
It usually comes in a box with day and night, right?
With day and night, yeah. But it breaks, if you're taking the nighttime, it kind of helps breaks you into a sweat at night, which helps. I like to put a little bit of lemon in there with some honey, and that kind of helps you out. But it kind of helps break that fever as well. It kind of helps with a little bit of the fever too. Mucinex helps with phlegm. That is if you feel that you have a lot of phlegm building up, if you feel really, really congested. I would definitely do some Mucinex.
It doesn't work though unless you drink lots of water with it. Because actually, if you take that medicine and you're dehydrated, it's actually going to make your phlegm worse.
Yeah, you'll get worse.
So remember, we would be like, man, you told me to take Mucinex and I feel worse. I'm like, you're drinking a lot of water with it?
No.
And they're like, no. I'm like, it is going to reverse on you and make it worse.
Yeah, it will. Some people who ended up with the Delta variant they were experiencing a lot of cramps. This didn't happen with the regular COVID. With us, it didn't experience it. But once they got the Delta variant, they were experiencing a lot of cramps, a lot of cramping. They were experiencing nausea and throwing up. But with this new one, it's more of the flu and everything. And the throat. So that's why, and headaches. The headaches.
I heard that was Delta too, though.
Yeah, Delta and the new one, the new variant, is a lot of the headaches. So I would definitely stick to like a Tylenol. The Tylenol PM, believe it or not, works really, really good.
Helps you sleep.
Yeah, it helps you sleep, which honestly, you want to get a lot of rest. It's something that you definitely want to do. Drink a lot of fluids and you want to get a lot of rest. And the Tylenol PM really does help you sleep. Even if it's during the day, you do want to take like a Tylenol PM to help you sleep. So I would stick to like a Tylenol PM. And I would, if you do have cramping though, honestly, Midol, I know it's for women, but Midol actually works for cramping. If you're experiencing those really heavy cramps, so I would definitely take Midol. But back to the Mucinex, I would go to a Mucinex, which is the DM, which is the Max, and that's the Fast Max. They have the night one as well. Mm-hmm. And like he said, lots of fluids, guys. Lots of fluids. I had seen somebody had post about, that they wanted Tampico and orange juice. The worst that you might want to drink.
That's like a phlegm creator. An irritator.
Milk, Tampicos, orange juices, pineapple juices, any type of acidic type of juices, cranberry juices or anything like that, I wouldn't drink them, guys. Those are the worst juices that you're going to want to drink during any type of sore throats or any type of coughing or anything like that, because what it's doing, it's building up more phlegms. It's actually building more acidity. Anything acidic is not good when you're having, because what it can cause, it can cause more of a sore throat, and you're only going to cut up more of your throat, and it's not good at all. So be really, really, really careful with drinking anything that's acidic. So those are the main things, guys. Honestly, if you happen to have anything, any type of opportunity to get muscle relaxants, or if you do have a muscle relaxers, that is something that helps a lot, because you're going to experience a lot of body pain. Anything to help with, your body feeling, your muscles being relaxed.
The reason we like saying muscle relaxers over opioids is because they're not opioids. They're not, like some of those other over the prescription drugs that can be addictive. Muscle relaxers actually was the only thing that helped my body pain.
But there is one alternative thing that will help you tremendously, and that will actually help a lot, is to get into an Epsom salt bath. Not only will the Epsom salt bath alleviate pain, but I will say that if you get into a hot bath and you actually get into a hot bath to the hottest you can actually take it, and put in 2 full cups of Epsom salt, not only it's gonna detox and start to really detoxify a lot of the toxins in your body. And that's actually a really, really good thing because, you know, a lot of the times when we're taking so much medication, when there's so much stuff that our body has collected, that's what Epsom salt does. It detoxifies through the pores within the bottom of our feet, within the palms of our hands, you know, within the certain areas and parts of our bodies that, you know, toxins actually releases. And getting into the Epsom salt baths, it really, really does help. So I would suggest that you all actually run a few, you know, Epsom salt baths. And that actually not only helps with detoxifying, but it actually helps with relieving pain. It helps with inflammation and everything. And it helps a lot, guys. It actually helps also if you get a Q-tip and you use a little bit of that same, you know, of a little bit of Epsom salt and water, and you get a Q-tip and you run it on the edge of the inside of your nose and everything to cleanse out the insides of your nose, of your nostrils and everything. So hopefully that helps out a little bit. You know, those are some of the things that you can do to help out your body when you're going through some of this stuff. And just make sure you take your vitamins. Bone broth. Another thing, do your studies on bone broth. If you can't go out of your home and you don't have, I would definitely get, you know, some chicken feet. Maybe do chicken feet bone broth, do oxtail bone broth, and do straight bone broth. You know, put it into your I wouldn't do it straight over the stove, but I would do a slow cooker, or I would do your what's my oh my god, the pot that I use, the crock pot. I would cook it in the crock pot. Do not cook it for 10 hours or anything like that. I'd do a 4 to 6 hour cooker. Cook it in there for 4 to 6 hours full. Fill it up with water. Use some natural salt, guys. Just a little bit of natural salt in there. Maybe some onion, or, you know, some very simple, like maybe some onion or something like that. And cook some oxtail in there and just do the straight bone broth and just drink it. All of that is really, really nutritious for you. And that bone broth will actually not only give you strength, but it's actually really good for flus and all of that. Elderberry is really good for you as well.
Oh yeah, we didn't even mention that.
Yeah, elderberry is amazing for cutting infections, for flus and colds and all of that as well. Also the green machine, guys. I know I said that we were gonna, you know, do the video, but the green machine, you know, just any type of broth, guys. You know, drinking any type of broth is really good for the immune system. Things that are gonna just go automatically directly into your bloodstream, and all of that stuff is just really, really good for you. You know, I've been drinking a lot of broths, you know, in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and you know, I'll be honest with you, my hip, right? My hip has done a little bit better, and just, you know, in just the last, you know, week and a half, you know, since then. And it does really good when you're doing stuff that helps your body feel a little bit better. So, you know, guys, you know, just take care of yourselves. So that's it.
That is it.
Yep. All right, guys. We love you guys. Enjoy your morning. God bless you. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
You're taking your mic off before I even stopped the video?
I was right here.
Oh.
I still got it right here.
All right.
Chill. All
right, guys. Bye.
right. Bye, guys.